Another awesome individual that I'm about to introduce, Ms. Charlene Tatis, currently serves as Program Director of the San Jose Digital Inclusion Partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund. She holds a master's degree in human development and education leadership from Pacific Oaks College. Ms. Tatis has over 20 years of experience leading multiple community-based initiatives and public-private partnerships in support of educational equity for all families and children living in Santa Clara County. She has passionately served in a number of roles as community organizer, grant administrator, and consultant for community and government organizations, serving diverse populations of families with young children. Please join me with welcoming Ms. Charlene Tatis.
Thank you. Thank you for that very warm welcome and introduction, Denise. I think you should introduce everyone because the energy is so high and wonderful. I feel so important. Thank you. And thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Denise.
No.
Okay. And thank you so much, V and Lisa, for inviting me to share some information today about the San Jose Digital Inclusion Partnership and some of the exciting things that we're doing to help support families and students in schools to access digital resources and be able to meet some of the needs that our previous presenter was talking about in his data. So let me go ahead and share my slide deck here. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm here to talk a little bit today about the San Jose Digital Inclusion Partnership. Sunny McPeak referenced our partnership quite a bit in her while she was speaking to everyone, and so I'm going to share, give a little bit more details about what is the San Jose Digital Inclusion Partnership. So basically, the city of San Jose and asked the California Emerging Technology Fund to lead the strategy and grant management of the Digital Inclusion Fund. And what we believe is the internet is a basic human right. However, there is still, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to move my view here. Ah, there you go. Now I can see my screen. Okay. So, but what we found through a survey with Stanford in 2017 was that 95,000 residents lacked access to broadband in the city of San Jose, and 50,000 of those households were without access to the digital literacy skills necessary to use the connection in a device. And probably no surprise to all of us here is that the majority of those residents are low income, in particular African American and Latinx families. What we found through the survey with Stanford is that the root cause, the top barrier to access to internet at home is the cost of the internet, and the second barrier is the cost of the device. And so our partnership looked at this data, and we basically brought together resources and partners and formulated a goal to invest $24 million to close the digital divide over the next 10 years. And each year we are investing about $1 to $2 million in grants to community-based organizations. And what's really exciting about the San Jose Digital Inclusion Partnership is that it really is the first centralized source of resources and convening around digital connectivity in the city. And so, as Sunny had mentioned earlier, Lisa serves on our board, Dr. Andrews, and about 21 other private and public partners, internet service providers like Comcast, AT&T, Kaiser Permanente, and our board makes recommendations to the city manager's office, who then recommends the grants to city council. And so our partnership launched, and I believe, yeah. So our partnership launched in February of February 28th of 2020. And then about 3 weeks later, we were all in shelter in place. And so as a first year initiative, not only did we have to, work through the challenges of being a first year initiative, but also COVID and having to now deliver these new services digitally rather than in person, as many of our partners plan to do. So in our first year of grants, we funded 22 community-based organizations, and there's a collage here of the logos of each of those organizations. And what the city knew early on is that if we really, the city really wanted to reach the hardest to reach families. And although, the library and other city programs were providing digital access services, we knew that there were many residents that just, have a distrust in government, and really our community-based organizations have the relationship, have the trust with some of our residents that, that are the most vulnerable, and, and so we really wanted to fund those organizations so that they can really reach out to families in language and in culture. And that's been really an important part of this partnership. We also funded several school districts as well, and charters, as you'll see here, like Alum Rock, ACE, Cristo Rey, and Rocket Ship. We also have a really strong partnership with the Santa Clara County Office of Ed, and when it is similar to the previous presentation and presenting the data about how many families were connected with a device and internet access as a result of the pandemic, a lot of those efforts came through partnerships like in San Jose with the Santa Clara County Office of Ed, where Dr. Dewan in the spring and then in the fall, her and her staff sent over 3,000 letters to families with information about affordable internet offers and how they can reach out to community-based organizations for support to connect to those offers. Because many of us know, there's the resources that are available, and then there's, accessing those resources. And many times families really need that support, especially when they do need to submit documentation to the internet service providers to be able to qualify and access those affordable offers. And then through this partnership, because there were funds available in San Jose, but not necessarily for residents living outside of the city of San Jose, CETF also awarded $100,000 in grants to connect residents in the county, in Santa Clara County, that live outside of the city of San Jose boundaries. And so that partnership was really important so that we can give access to everyone in our county and make sure that everyone, especially at the time that we were all forced to be at home, and our only way of, accessing family, friends, and education was through internet connection. We definitely appreciated the partnership with Dr. Dewan and her staff to be able to reach out to every family in Santa Clara County that had a student registered in school. Another important piece that our partnership did in helping bridge this digital divide was develop strong partnerships between our community-based organizations and school districts, that we established a referral system so that every family who received a hotspot and or a device is able to be referred to one of our community-based organizations that then reaches out to the family and registers them for digital literacy classes so that family members can also be able to access the device and the internet connection that they have at home. What all studies show is that, you know, when households have the internet access, they do save time and money. And for many of our families that we serve that are low income, that's a really important piece. These referral systems, these relationships were developed with Cambrian School District, Campbell Union High School District, Mount Pleasant, Oak Grove, and San Jose Unified. So I do have a call to action here at the end of the slide deck, because we are still open to develop relationships with school districts who would like to develop a referral system where staff can refer families for access to digital literacy training. And you'll see here that our partnership is basically, we often use the analogy, the three-legged stool. So it's connecting families with the internet, and that's how it all starts. And then making sure that they have access to an affordable or no-cost device and digital literacy training. And we are aware that for, you know, most schools, even if a device is given at home, sometimes that device is restricted, or, you know, before the pandemic, students weren't, you know, school districts didn't always allow students to take the device home. And our partnership is very keen on ensuring that every family has a device that's fully accessible to every family member in the home. And that's really important, again, so that the adults in the family can stay connected to teachers, to staff, for the school, but also access online resources and services to save their families time and money. I'm happy to report our progress to date. So as I mentioned, we launched on February 28th. We've reached over 200,000 residents. We've surveyed over 12,000 of those residents to understand their access, their need to access. And we also provided about 6,000 households with connectivity, device access, and ongoing digital literacy training. I think also, you know, as the pandemic posed many challenges for us, it also helped accelerate our work, especially in the area of fundraising. So it was originally the city's goal to raise $10 million aside from the $14 million that was being generated through the small cell permitting. And we, in 1 year alone, we've raised 2 out of those $10 million in philanthropic funds, again, separate from the small cell permitting, which generates the base of our available funds for the partnership. As Sunny also alluded to today, this morning, after I had the horrible night of dealing with the aftermath of the second COVID vaccine shot, we had an advisory board meeting this morning where our advisory board approved the 11 grant applications that are moving forward and are being funded from round 2. And so we're really excited to take the lessons that we learned in round 1 together with our grantees, because there were many lessons that we learned, and be able to apply some of those in round 2 while we continue to iterate our design and our grant making to ensure that we are really meeting the needs of residents in San Jose who are on the wrong side of the digital divide. And we still have a lot to understand about how to deliver services, either in a full remote or hybrid fashion, or when our grantees are able to go back into full in-person. And so then in our third year funding, it's going to be another open application process. So if any of the school districts that are here with us today that would be interested in applying for San Jose Digital Inclusion Grant, that grant application is set to be released in October of this year for a July 1st start in 2022. And here is my call to action here today. I think it's always important after a presentation to kind of say, okay, so what? So now you've heard all of this. What do we do with this? And so what I'm asking here today is that, if there's any schools that would like to build partnerships with our current grantee organizations to be able to, have a referral warm handoff system where students and families can be referred for digital literacy support and training. Once again, our grantees are always trying to also ensure that families have access to a device that's available, fully available to all family members. And then, especially families who received a hotspot that might have that might be free now, but when those resources are no longer available, our grantee partners can also provide information about where to access affordable internet offers that are sustainable and and a long-term solution for families. We also are always looking for donations of decommissioned devices. So if your organization doesn't know what to do with the devices that you can't use anymore, we are always open to taking them, because we work with several partners to refurbish those devices and then get them back out into the community. So please, if your organization needs somewhere to donate the decommissioned devices, or maybe you would like to look at who you're currently using to donate your devices and possibly keep it more local, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. And with that said, here is my contact information. If you have any questions, once again, if you are interested in learning more about how to apply for a grant in the future, or to donate your decommissioned devices, or to form a partnership with one of our grantee organizations, I would be happy to schedule some time to talk to you and work through that. So that's all I have for right now. Thank you all for your generous time and attention to everything I had to say.